What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Punk Rock Radar. Today we are ranking the Vandals' 10 studio albums. We're going to go from When in Rome, including Peace Through Vandalism, all the way through Hollywood Potato Chip. And we're also going to include Oi to the World, so we have an even 10 albums. I'm joined today by Lewis and Dylan. Lewis, how you feel about the Vandals overall? What do you think of this tier list?
I mean, they're kind of one of those bands that just has always been there, I guess. Yeah. Never my favorite band. Never a band I really hated, but enjoyable overall, I guess. I mean, on average. But I guess we'll get into it to see how these rank. I do have some strong feelings about some of these band records, though. So We'll see what happens.
And Dylan, how you doing today?
I'd be a lot better if I just won Green Day Guess the Song, but here we are.
You're giving too much information, Dylan. We recorded that another day. I'm just kidding.
All right, so just for I feel like this episode there's some serious potential for people to get very upset with us. So I just want to set my expectations here. My first Vandals album I ever heard was Look What I Almost Stepped In. So just to kind of justify some things that we may say very soon, but let's get into it. The first album we're going to hit, When in Rome, Do As the Vandals from 1984. The only album we're going to feature today that has Steve-O, the original singer, on vocals. Dylan, I'm going to let you take this one first. What are your thoughts on this album and where are you going to put it?
So the EP side of things, I'm gonna be more complimentary of, because obviously there's you got Anarchy Burger on there. I mean, one of the all-time classic Vandal songs. I think the way they play it live now is better than it is on the recording. And I just like Dave's voice more than Steve-O. I know it's gonna be a hot take with the hardcore punk fans. So Peace Through Vandalism, pretty good. I give that like a C, but then you combine it with When in Rome, which is just a dog shit album, to be completely honest. That tanks it. That puts it down into the D tier for me. I mean, just the album is so. I mean, I know it's the Vandals, and the whole thing is being unserious and goofy, but it just doesn't work very well on this album. Like Lady Killer is just a travesty.
All right, and I literally agree with every single thing that you said. Anarchy Burger is a great song. Even Vin Diesel agrees. But I'm also putting in the D tier. And Lewis, what about you?
That's a reference to Triple X, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna play that clip at some point in this because I have to.
Yeah.
No, there's an old punk song. It says, America stands for freedom. But if you think you're free, try walking into a deli and urinating on the cheese. You got it. Anarchy Burger by the Vandals. Deutschland.
I remember that. Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way. I actually, my first record I heard we're going to talk about is Live Fast. But I remember I bought this because I was trying to learn about the classics, you know, and I bought the combined version of When in Rome and Peace Through Vandalism on CD. And I never really got past the first few songs, which is the EP. I didn't like it either. I think it really tanks down, just strange, really weird record in context. Like it hasn't really like aged like really well either. No. So yeah, D tier. Let's go D.
All right, so we got that one done. Let's move into this pile of shit, guys. Slippery When Ill, from 1988 or 1989. I'm not sure. I don't care where it came out. All I know is that it's horrible. It's one of the worst albums we've ever had on any tier list. I think like this is right up there with Ignorance is Bliss. I think it's way worse than Ignorance is Bliss.
Yeah.
This is a, like D tier all the like. So when I do my listening, I put all the songs onto a playlist and I usually just shuffle it. I had to take this whole album off the list and I just like, you know what, fuck it, it's a D. Like I don't need to listen to it anymore. And it was just ruining all the shuffle. But yeah, D tier, one of the worst albums in the history of the Punk Rock Radar show. Lewis, what are your thoughts on it?
I think I got me married down in Susanville, waiting for me to come home, making my wife.
100% agree. So I think we've mentioned this before, but I used to get a lot of albums off Unix Punks through the FTP server, like back in the day when off a 56K modem. And I remember I downloaded this because I couldn't find it in stores, I think. And I think it would have been re-released maybe eventually later as Play Really Bad Country Songs, right?
Yeah.
That was got re-released as. And I was confident I had downloaded the wrong album. Like, there's no way that this is a Vandals record, right? Like, I mean, how would it make sense? I guess in context of history, they're trying to be funny or make a fun of the scene. I don't really get it, but overall, it is a huge turd, as you said. It's bad. I want to hear what Dylan has to say. Let's see if he has anything nice to say about it.
S tier, greatest Vandals album ever. No, I mean, Clowns Are Experts is funny. The rest of the album, not so much. It's a hard listen. I don't know that I've ever listened all the way through. D tier.
All right, good. Yeah,
thank God.
That's the easiest one to rank like ever. Okay, so moving along here, we've got Fear of a Punk Planet from 1990, and this is, to me, this is the first like listenable one up to this point. I know a lot of people really like this album, but I want to wait to hear what you guys have to say first. So Lewis, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on this record?
I agree. I mean, it's definitely the first one that I think is genuinely pretty okay. I don't think it's anything exceptional compared to like their later stuff. Like looking at the track list right now, like Girls Turn 18 Every Day is definitely one that stands out. Pizza Tran, obviously the opener is pretty good. And I think then they, what's it called? I'm trying to think, but, The Day That Farrah Fawcett died, very prescient. And then the Summer Lovin' parody, which is pretty gross and dirty. Mm-hmm. But okay album. I'm going to put it in C tier. I would say, actually, you know what? I actually gave this one a B. I'm going to put this in B tier. How about that? Yeah, I did a last minute audible. I'm looking at my list here. So I'm putting it in B tier. Overall good, and I'll explain why when I get to my C's for sure. So yeah, B tier.
All right. And Dylan, what about you?
This is also going in my B tier. Fun fact, I used to think Pizza Tran was about a transvestite who worked at a pizza place until I read the lyrics. Yeah, it's a solid album. They didn't nail the production yet, I feel like. It doesn't really sound like a punk album necessarily, but there's a lot of great songs on here. Pizza Tran, Join Us for Pong. It's a solid album. The cover art's very avant-garde.
Yeah. This is the second album with Dave Quackenbush, right? Because he was on Slippery When Ill, right? We should have mentioned that. So. Yeah,
this is when they start to get in their rhythm, I feel like.
Yeah, all right. I'm going C. I'm going a little below you guys. The Raj is a god-awful song, man. It is long, too. And
it doesn't end.
To have that right in the beginning is, ugh. Couple facts. Like, I didn't know these things until we started listening. It's got two of the Zappa kids on the album. It's got Dweezil and what's Moonbeam or whatever those crazy names on there. And then you've got Kelsey Grammer, better known as Frasier, singing and playing piano on I think the last song, like what's it called? Phone Machine. It's got Kelsey Grammer singing and playing piano. So there it is. Overall, it's, like I said, the first listenable album, but I don't really care for it that much. I don't see myself going back to it very often. So I'm going into the C tier. So here's how we look right now. It's pretty similar. Lewis and Dylan are completely identical up to this point. But Dylan, I'm going to give you the pleasure of walking us through this next one here. We've got Live Fast Diarrhea from 1995. Take it away.
We're going on a rocket ship straight to the S tier. The Vandals popped off on this album, and this is where I feel like they cement their legacy. And really, anyone who says they like the Steve-O Vandals more than these Vandals can fuck themselves, because they're lying to themselves. This is like a top 25 all-time punk album. Just so many great songs. The only songs that I'm not a fan of probably would be like Soup of the Day, I think, is the only song I could do without. And that's just some goofy little outro. But Let the Bad Times Roll, Take It Back, I Have a Date. Such an incredible album. The best Vandals album, in my opinion.
There you go. Lewis, I'm assuming you're going to be pretty similar. Like, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I'm going S tier as well. I don't know if I would consider it a top 25 all-time punk album, but I think it's a really good one. I think maybe the first A side is much stronger than the B side for sure, but you can't really beat that A side. Like the Let the Bad Times Roll is probably to this day my favorite Vandals song. I'll be honest, I love it, and I think I even used NIMBY, I think, in one of our Guess the Songs back in the day. So you guys know that I'm fond of this album. But Now We Dance is one of the best Vandals songs as well. Like this first goes so hard. So definitely S tier for me. It was like the first album I heard, so still holds true for me.
Don't want to change my pants.
All right, so
That's on the B side.
I've got my first.
Yeah, I don't like to take that one.
Little bit of a shocker here. I've said this is my favorite Vandals album before. But I'm not putting it in the S tier. After going through and listening to all these again, and Now We Dance is my favorite Vandals song of all time, so I'll give it that. But I'm going A on this album. Lewis, I don't know if you knew this, and I can't confirm this is true or not, but I read online that there is like a nod to Fuck Armageddon, This Is Hell, and in Super Califragilistic.
Oh yeah,
of course.
And it's Fuck Armageddon is the outro. What's the beginning? It's either I think it's We're Only Gonna Die is the end at the end. So it does Fuck Armageddon in the beginning, and it does We're Only Gonna Die for Our Arrogance as the end part. Yeah, it is a Bad Religion reference. You're right. Good pull out.
I didn't know that until we did this, but yeah, I really like this album. But there was one that surged, and I'm gonna get hate for it. I could tell you that. But I'm going A. So continuing the trend, Lewis and Dylan are still identical. I'm one below on 2 albums. And up next, we've got The Quickening. I think I'm doing the order correct here. From 1996. So, Lewis, I'll pass this one to you. To me, this is like that forgotten one in between Hitler Bad and Live Fast. But I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this one.
No one ever asked to be born.
Yeah, this is one that I often forgot about too. I don't think I ever heard this one till like a couple of years later. I think like well after I listened to like Internet Dating Super Studs, I think, because like no one ever really talked about this album. And I think rightfully so. It's a major downgrade from Live Fast Diarrhea. I don't think it keeps any of the momentum. It's a pretty boring record. I don't think it sounds as good as Live Fast either, to be honest. I'm trying to look at the track list right here. The only song that I guess John likes Tastes Like Chicken.
Yeah,
but,
I do.
That one's okay. I guess I always think of It's a Fact as well, but those are the ones that I remember. But yeah, I don't really like this album. It should have stayed hidden in the wild like Sasquatch on the cover. So yeah, I'm putting this one in C tier because I don't have a D left. So it's a little bit better than those first 2, but not by much.
Damn. All right, Dylan, what about you?
All right, this is where Lewis and I drift apart a little bit. I'm gonna put it in the B tier, and I mean it's a weird album, man. It starts strong with the first 3 songs, and then it just it really fades after that. I mean, Stop Smiling, It's a Fact, and Marry Me. That's as strong of a opening sequence there as any of the Vandals albums, but the rest of it's just not very listenable. And I don't know. It's just a lot of joke songs like Allah and How Did This Loser Get This Job? So.
Oh yeah, that song sucks. Oh, Allah sucks.
It is a big downgrade from Live Fast.
Yeah, I'm with Dylan. I'm going B, and man, Allah is terrible.
It's terrible.
But I always thought that this was an older Vandals album. I even said that mistakenly when I think Dylan gave me It's a Fact, and I just can't believe this came out in between Hitler Bad and Live Fast Diarrhea. Like, it sounds like I would have guessed like 92, 93 that it came out, like before those, because it's so much less refined. But I mean, overall, I don't dislike it. I think it's like very average as far as the Vandals albums go. To me, it's better than the first three. So for that reason, I'm going to the B tier with Dylan. And up next, we've got what Dylan calls a cult classic. I was talking to him about him yesterday. I wasn't sure if we were going to include this, but we did, so we can get an even 10 albums, 2 in every tier. We've got Oi to the World, which is their Christmas album.
Yeah.
Man, I had this ride in the D tier, guys. I know people really like this, but I don't know if it's because it's August. I don't know if it's because I mean, I usually love Christmas music, I'll be honest, but man, I was skipping a lot of these songs, and if I had 3 spots in D, this would be there. So for that reason alone, I'm going into the C tier with Oi to the World. So Dylan, you told me yesterday this was a classic, so let's hear what you have to say about it.
Yes, this is one of the best, most highly regarded Christmas punk albums from my experience. Fun little. Well, let's get my rank on it. We're put it in the C tier because it is a Christmas album. It's I can't really compare it against the other studio albums. We used to do these like holiday themed playlists for Dying Scene, and I put My First Christmas as a Woman on one of them, and this was like in 2012. But punk rock's always been very progressive, so I got a lot of backlash for that. Because people felt like that song makes fun of a certain that demographic.
Canceled now.
I got canceled 10 years ago.
Yeah, you have to wonder if that like set the stage for NoFX My Vagina, right? They're pretty similar. But so
That's
Dylan,
true.
do you like this album or no?
Yeah, I like it. I listen to it every Christmas.
So, Lewis, I know that you're a huge fan of the Bad Religion Christmas album, and rightfully so. So, does this album give you the same magical, jolly feelings as that one?
No, of course not. Like, I mean, the whole point of why the Bad Religion one is good is because it's doing, it's taking classic Christmas songs and making them all sound the same, basically, but It's still fun, you know what I mean? So, but they're all songs that obviously have a lot of nostalgia for all of us growing up. So the Bad Religion album is the best Christmas album put out by a punk band for sure. But I think
PX?
No, not even close. I think, but Oi to the World, I think outside of the title track, which I think is a good song, and I think No Doubt covered it as well, which is pretty fun. I don't really think a lot of the other songs are that good. I mean, and a lot of them are just a little too depressing for a Christmas album. It does not put me in the right spirit. I get they're trying to be funny. If I had another spot in the D tier, I would, but I'll put it in C.
There we go. We're on the same page, 100%. All right, so let's move along to the next album. We've got Hitler Bad, Vandals Good now. So with this
Just
to me,
S tier it. Just S tier.
yeah, we've all got S tier. I'm assuming, unless Dylan's got a real wild card. But this album's incredible.
She's keeping hope alive. Cafe 405.
There's there's not, well, I'm sure there's a bad song, but I mean, off the top, Cafe 405, My Girlfriend's Dead, Euro-Barge. There's one thing I do want to talk about here, because I Googled this. I couldn't find too much information, but the parallels between Hitler Bad, Vandals Good, and The Offspring Americana is like sprinkled everywhere on this. Like Euro-Barge and the title track Americana have almost identical vocal melodies in that pre-chorus. And then the other one, Too Much Drama and Walla Walla, are like the same song, and I saw that Dexter even co-wrote this song. So I'm sure there's bigger Vandals fans and bigger Offspring fans out there who can shed some more light on this, but I'm just curious if like all those very similar melodies and parallels, I know they're buddies, if they did it for any reason or if it's just they both really like those songs. So. Yeah, I mean, this is Nitro, right? This is the last one on Nitro, I think. So yeah, I'm going S tier all day long. Lewis, you said you're going S, but you have anything else to share about this one?
No, not really. I mean, I think this is the one that kind of defines our childhood with the Vandals, or at least young adolescence, right? I mean, I feel like we all love this album. It was definitely a regular in my car. I love this record. It's really close with Live Fast Diarrhea about which one I like better. I think this one might be better overall, but I really love that first A side of Live Fast. So S tier all day. That's going to be my 2 S's. Dylan, what about you?
Yeah, I think this is their most well put together album. It's just really well rounded, well produced. The songs are all super solid. I don't think there's any bad songs on here. So easy S for me. An Idea for a Movie is probably my favorite song on here. And 8.
You know, yeah. An Idea for a Movie, I think, it was just a random fact that I remember. It was used in a Dave Mirra and Ryan Nyquist hype video for BMX, and I think when I was a kid too. So I remember loving that part of that video as well. So good times. So,
all right. So I think, all right, this next album, guys, this is without a doubt, I think the most polarizing Vandals album, and Dylan has expressed some dislike for this. So
have I?
Yeah, you told me you hate this album. So if that's not true,
that's another album.
Let's hear it then. What are your thoughts on Look What I Almost Stepped In?
You could kiss my ass.
All right, this is an A tier album.
Awesome.
You're thinking of a different album that I don't like, but this is a pretty solid album. For a 2000s Vandals album, it's pretty solid. Behind the Music is an awesome opening track. There's a few duds in here, but I don't know. It's the Vandals, man. They're doing what they do. They got like the goofy song, like Flowers Are Pretty. That's the My Girlfriend's Dead of this album. Yeah, pretty solid album. Not one of my favorites, but solid A tier.
I could have sworn that I was talking about the song Jackass, and you said you hate that album. I could be wrong though, but Lewis, where are you going to put this one?
So, you know, I don't know where I got this idea in my head that I really hated this album, but like I hadn't listened to it in like 15 years maybe. And I own this on CD. Like I saw it at my mom's house when I visited or went through my old stuff. And I bought this, and apparently, like, I just didn't like it at the time. But listening to it now, I actually thought it was pretty good. Like, it really, I think in my head, I had conflated this one and The Quickening for whatever reason, and I thought they both sucked or forgot one existed. So I'm putting this one in the A tier for all the reasons Dylan said. I think the title track is really good. I'm going to guess, John, that you're going S on this one.
This search, I feel like I'm gonna get destroyed for this because I'm 100. I may have been wrong about Dylan's opinion, but I have seen the internet's opinion on this album and it is not good. But I mean the A side of this, Behind the Music, Go is an awesome song. The New You, Flowers Are Pretty. And I really like Jackass. That song is constantly stuck in my head. The B-side definitely falls off like every Vandals album, but for the A-side alone, I moved this up to my S tier. I did it. I mean, it's still pretty early today. I made the call maybe 2 hours ago. I listened one more time, and I'm like, it's S. I told Lewis, I said, man, that look what I almost stepped in is rising on my board. So I knocked down Live Fast Diarrhea. I'm not afraid to make a bold claim here and there, but I may change it tomorrow. I like both of those albums, but for now, for this video, I am saying S for that one. And I know the internet is going to kill me for it.
You mentioned the B-side. I want to point out 14. I think only 2 bands could make a song this blatantly offensive.
Yes.
The Vandals and Guttermouth.
Yes.
And they were both on Nitro.
It's true. I think the Vandals have like 2 or 3 songs in the subject as well. Whatever.
That's a funny ass song though.
And this kind of stuff was more okay to joke about in the year 2000 than it is now. That's for sure. All right, but let's move along here. Dylan, I'll let you keep rolling here. I know you like this album, Internet Dating Super Studs from 2002. What are your thoughts here for this one?
A whole lot more like me around you. Please appreciate my honesty.
The album's so nice, I bought it thrice. I actually have it on vinyl too. I like this album a lot. This is my other A tier album. This is I don't know, it sounds different from any other Vandals album, but there's just so many great songs on here. Soccer Mom, Disproportionate Head, Little Weirdo. I mean, just an awesome album. And I love the guitar playing on this record too. Warren really popped off on the guitar parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going with Dylan too. I think like Appreciate My Honesty is a top 5 Vandals song for me. I'm going A. I went back and forth with these last 2, I'll be honest. I know that the last one people don't really care for, but I hold them in pretty even regard. But this one won out for me, so it's going in my A tier. Lewis, what about you, Internet Dating?
I am also putting this one in my A tier. I like this album a lot when it came out. For all the songs you mentioned, I also, one dark horse you guys didn't mention, I think My Brother Is Gay is a pretty good song as well.
Another one that wouldn't fly.
Well, that one seems a little bit more positive than the other ones, to be fair.
Yeah.
At least that one's about acceptance. I guess we should probably talk about the elephant in the room about the Vandals, is they tend to be I guess they have a message of conservatism, and they tend to be a little bit more right wing than a lot of other punk bands, or the idea that PC is stupid. So that is the Vandals and Guttermouth in general, right? So, but yeah, this is a pretty good record. Yeah, this is a pretty. I kind of think of them as a not as good Guttermouth. I'll be honest. That might get hate too, because I think the first few the Guttermouth albums are pretty awesome. The first 5 or so. But yeah, definitely an A tier, a good album. I enjoyed it when it came out. So yeah, all those reasons.
All right. So, I mean, we could all see where this is going. The final album, it's almost 20 years old. I read a Joe Escalante interview not too long ago saying there will not be any more Vandals albums. So we felt good enough to do the tier list now. He said nobody wants a punk album from people in their 60s. I disagree, but
I disagree.
This is the final record. Another one that gets a fair amount of hate online. A lot of people really dislike this album. I think the Queen cover of Don't Stop Me Now is really good. I don't love Warren's vocals, but in this song, I feel like it really works. And Atrocity is a really, really good song. Like a track 8 down here with not a lot of plays. I think this is the best song on the record. I flirted with the A tier on this one, but I am ending up in B, which it looks like where Lewis is going as well. So Lewis, anything else to say about it?
Front page, people full of rage, trapped inside the world like monkeys in a cage. I'm building a bomb! I'm building a bomb!
Yeah, I mean, the only really notable song is "Don't Stop Me Now." I think the rest of it is pretty average, but good average. You know, like I could put this album on and it's not very noticeable or offensive to me. So I thought it was a good final album, I guess, for them. And just as a note, we're not going to cover this Halloween album that came out, I guess, a couple years ago. We mentioned this. It's like the pumpkin something. But yeah, this one's a B.
All right, and Dylan, I know you don't like this, so what are your gripes with this album?
This is the one that I was shitting on when you brought it up. If I had a spot for a third D, this would be in my D tier.
Wow.
I really don't like this album, man. How They Get You is all right, but there's just so many like Dave's just like shouting on all these songs for the most part. Like there's very little musicality going on here, and I think the "Don't Stop Me Now" cover is very overplayed. So
overplayed.
I am the proud owner of the band cover. I don't know how rare that is. I don't think it's very rare.
Band cover.
They like use like the Variety font or something for their logo.
Yeah, they got sued for like 10 years over that for some reason. I've seen so many bands parody font, and this is the only time I've seen like a lawsuit over it.
Well, I think the Vandals are no strangers to lawsuits, though, right? So.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dylan, have you heard Atrocity? I mean, I feel like Atrocity could be on like.
I'm listening to it right now,
dude. It's so good. But that's gonna wrap up this tier list here. Right now, it seems like a pretty safe bet that Pulley is gonna be our September video, which is awesome. But that's gonna be really hard for me. I don't think Pulley has a single bad record. If you don't want to see Pulley, it's not too late to cast your vote. You've got another, I don't know, 10, 15 days. It doesn't really expire. But if there is another band you'd like to see us do, leave it down below in the comments or join our Discord. There's a YouTube section where you can recommend videos. You can talk to all three of us there. You can post your vinyl collection, do whatever you want. It's a little playground over there. So have fun. But that's going to wrap this one up. Dylan, anything exciting going on at dyingscene.com we should keep an eye out for?
Nothing at all.
All right, and Lewis, any trick updates from Mr. Link?
I taught him to shake hands like 3 weeks ago, man. He has nothing new in the tank. But he's a cat. Just don't get your expectations too high. But no, if anyone, my vote for the rankings, let's do Propaganda one of these days. I want people to vote for that. One of my favorite bands. So that's all I'm gonna say. Biased. Yeah. Let's make it happen. So.